In this episode of I Escaped, a rookie pilot attempts a death-defying stunt to airlift his friend to freedom.
He's a sex offender, pretty much the worst of the worst.
And two hardened criminals take a cue from Hollywood to exit their prison stage.
Holy, how could this happen?
Across America, more than 2 million prisoners are behind bars. These are the stories of the few who dared to break out.
Show me your hands
now! More than 1,000 miles up the East Coast, two inmates turn to Hollywood as inspiration for their escape. Union County Jail, downtown Elizabeth, New Jersey. The concrete fortress is home to more than 1,000 male and female inmates.
At our facility, we house every type of inmate, everybody from a parking ticket up to murder. We have a lot of psych inmates, so we're dealing with that also. There's a lot of kooks around here.
In 18 years, Union County Jail has never seen a successful escape. But that doesn't stop prisoners from trying.
Every correctional officer should know that at any time, these inmates possibly could escape.
32-year-old Otis Blunt is an alleged armed robber. Housed in maximum security, he's being held on suspicion of shooting a store manager.
Otis Blunt had a prior criminal history. He had been arrested for previous crimes, so this was not his first time being incarcerated.
Blunt claims he's innocent, but fears he's about to go down for up to 20 years. As he sees it, his only way out is breaking out. Needing help, he ropes in his next-door neighbor. Facing a 17-year stretch, 19-year-old Jose Espinoza readily agrees.
You may be relative. We can find our way out.
A gangbanger with a long record, Espinoza's awaiting sentencing for a drive-by shooting.
He had prior criminal history. He was a known member of the Bloods gang, and he was also an illegal alien.
Both are caged in the maximum security wing, making escape even harder. But Blunt and Espinoza form an unlikely team, and they're determined.
They were neighbors. They were in the cells right next to each other, so it was easy for them to communicate and form a plan of escape. You know, they had nothing but all day to do that.
The plan Blunt comes up with is right out of a movie script. They know if their escape fails, there'll be no sequel. Union County Jail, New Jersey. Unlikely allies Otis Blunt and Jose Espinoza are incarcerated, and they want out. Surrounded by armed guards and sealed in a concrete bunker, escape won't be easy for Otis Blunt and Jose Espinoza. But through a window in his third-floor cell, Espinoza notices a small adjoining roof. Blunt comes up with an ambitious and brazen plan. He will tunnel through the wall separating his cell from Espinoza's, while Espinoza will bust through the exterior wall and out onto the roof. If they can reach the roof, it's a death-defying 30-foot drop to a razor wire fence. Once over, a new life. Blunt's trial is just weeks away, so he needs to get out now.
Mr. Blunt had been involved in construction. He was familiar with concrete blocks.
Blunt steals a towel hook and flattens it to dig out the mortar between the concrete blocks in their cells. After dark, when there's much less chance of being caught, they take turns chipping and scraping.
Somehow, one of these inmates were able to get that instrument and bring it in his room.
Their plan, stolen straight from the classic prison movie, The Shawshank Redemption. To avoid detection by Officer Rudy Zurich and the other guards, just like in the movie, they disguise the damage to the walls with posters and hide the dust and rubble in their footlockers and toilet. In the end, the concrete blocks prove too much for their makeshift chisel. They need something much heavier. Prison plumbing provides exactly the right tool.
He noticed off of a recreational area, there was a wheel, which was a valve which turned water on and off. And he was able to bring it into his cell.
It was a pretty big valve, solid.
Wrapping it in a towel to muffle the sound, they used the valve like a sledgehammer.
So together, they worked using this wheel.
After 3 weeks of painstaking work, Blunt and Espinosa are ready. December 14th, nightfall. The two prisoners stuff their beds with blankets. Blunt squeezes through the wall into Espinosa's cell. Then, with one last hit, Espinosa busts through to the roof. Moving as quietly as possible, the two men make a break for it. All that's between the convicts and freedom is a razor wire fence and a terrifying 30-foot leap. Braving the bitter cold, they creep to the edge. Immediately, Espinosa takes a running leap, clearing the razor wire, but on the landing, he sprains his left ankle. Hearing Espinosa scream, Blunt freezes.
Now, Blunt saw that, and he didn't want to be injured, obviously.
While Espinosa hobbles off into the New Jersey night a free man, Blunt cowers on the roof. With dawn approaching, if he doesn't make a move soon, he'll get caught.
So he sat on the roof for about another 3 hours, thinking about what he could do. He eventually decided that he was going to try to inch his way down the side of the wall where two walls abutted.
Blunt is heading for the ground, but he's not free yet. To get out, he still needs to clear the perimeter fence topped with razor wire. Union County Jail, Elizabeth, New Jersey. Jose Espinosa has just jumped the perimeter fence, hurt his ankle, and escaped. Otis Blunt has reached the ground, but still faces the treacherous razor wire.
He injured himself slightly at that point in time, but he got over the fence.
Incredibly, it's not until 5 o'clock the next night, 20 hours after the escape, that Officer Rudy Zurich realizes something is wrong.
At that point, Rudy says to me, crack number 10. So I hit the button. And I should have known something was up. And he pulled the cover off the bunk, and that's where we saw the dummy. Holy how could this happen?
Both of these individuals were considered dangerous. They were in a city where there are thousands of citizens.
The media quickly runs with the story.
In New Jersey, a dramatic prison break right out of the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Two inmates scraped away at a cement block, then covered up holes with photos of bikini-clad women.
In an astonishing twist, the fugitives leave a taunting thank you note, suggesting the officer in charge of their section, Rudy Zurich, helped them escape.
Once the note became public, Rudy was absolutely humiliated.
I think they were mocking them. It's like, hey, let me show you my middle finger. This is how much, you can keep me in this jail.
Under the media spotlight, The pressure on Officer Zurich is unrelenting, and on January 2nd, 2008, 19 days after the escape, it proves too much.
I received a phone call, and that's when I was notified that Rudy had shot himself in his house.
The corrections officer leaves behind a grieving widow and a 4-year-old daughter. Later, investigators clear Zurich of any involvement in the escape. Responding to a tip, U.S. Marshals arrest Jose Espinoza 3 weeks after his escape, just 1.5 miles from the jail. The very next day, 2,000 miles away, Blunt is also nabbed.
The first week of January, we received information that Otis Blunt was in a hotel in Mexico City. The authorities went up to the room and they observed Otis Blunt laying in the bed. I was told that Otis Blunt defecated himself.
In June 2009, both Blunt and Espinoza are sentenced to 5 years for their escape. Ironically, Blunt is acquitted of all charges relating to the 2005 shooting of a convenience store manager. If he hadn't escaped from Union County Jail, he would have been set free.